I'm going to take a break from the Advanced Collection after finishing Harmony of the Sins, which I also meant to do after finishing Circle of the Moon. And yet I couldn't help but start Aria of Sorrow. And it was so worth it. I heard that Aria of Sorrow was super good. I mean, I even had heard people refer to it as Symphony of the Night 2, which really lit the fire of my curiosity and planted a nagging seed in my brain. I let the seed win, planted its roots in my cerebellum, and played Aria of Sorrow. It definitely feels like a successor to Symphony of the Night, and holy moly, am I glad for it. I can't lie, it might top Symphony of the Night for me, at least right now. But I mean, I wouldn't mind playing Symphony of the Night again just to compare the two. Return to Symphony of the Night's use of multiple weapons, no longer locked into the whip. There is a whip sword, which I think is a cool compromise, and Aria of Sorrow's defining mechanic, the evolution and marriage of sub-weapons and item crashes, the soul system. Each enemy has a soul, retaining the defining ability of each slain enemy, and god, I love it. Hearts act as mana refills, which I think is a nice way to blend the systems even further. I'm definitely going to go back someday and do a run where I get all the souls, but Aria shines without that. I said during the episodes for Circle and Harmony that there were other games I'd recommend before them, and little did I know how much Aria was going to be at. I feel like Aria kind of just strikes a balance between all the Castlevania I've played so far. Obviously, having Symphony as its roots and in its DNA, but taking a nice balance between the extremes of the boss fights that Harmony and Circle had. I mean, hell, I enjoyed a good few boss fights, and it had an interesting narrative to boot. I wouldn't say that I really dislike boss fights, but I haven't really been something I cared for either. Just, being skill test, pace breaker, a hurdle to overcome, blah blah blah. Aria of Sorrow is the first boss fights that I can actually remember actively enjoying, even if at first I was a little annoyed or frustrated at something, and then would go in excited for that next attempt. The first boss that this happened to was Death, and once I got over the initial annoyance, I realized the fight was actually super fun. I mean, avoiding his attacks while getting damage, and then once I figured out how to dodge my later attacks, I was all in on enjoying the fight. Hell, I would have died on my last attempt if I didn't dodge a finishing blow, or if I was just a little bit later. Speaking of, I actually did die on my first attempt that beat Belor. Dealt the finishing blow and then stopped moving, but his last attack was still active, so it hit me, causing mutual destruction. Got a good laugh out of me, that's for sure. Speaking of Belor, the fake with the giant bat was actually super sick. The first boss of the true ending I also really enjoyed, but I'm not going to talk about that part just yet. Also, I did enjoy the Legion boss fight. I don't know if I mentioned that. Okay, anything about a boss fight that I'm only going to talk about here. But I kind of wish the headhunter had more than 3 heads and would swap between them randomly each phase, as in 3 unique phases each time instead of the static 3 that are in the game. But I mean, I understand that there's multiple reasons why it's not like this, and it's perfectly fine as is. I think it could have been a cool idea to expand upon further. God, the exploration and general gameplay of Aria were so good, so completely solid. I don't know what to say about that part of it. There's a reason this game is rightfully regarded as so good. It's also really fun to find and use too, especially as you find new ones to try out or upgrade and add to your arsenal. I mean, the big golem is definitely one of my favorites. Every time you attack, he just throws his hand out to hit whatever's behind you. You can even quickly swap directions to create a 1-2 combo. I also think it's really silly, and I enjoyed using it a lot. I'm really glad it's in the game. The story was something I enjoyed, even if I don't necessarily know if I'd say it's amazing, but it was definitely something that I greatly value. It was interesting. Dracula's Castle. By the way, why does it feel like the castle is never called by its canonical name? I mean, Castlevania is such a sick-ass name, but it's always, understandably, referred to as Dracula's Castle. It has been sealed inside the Eclipse, and a bunch of people, each for different reasons, are brought inside the Eclipse, all becoming the cast of Aria. First off, I know it's magic. How the fuck is Castlevania inside the Eclipse? It's such a sick idea. Soma Cruz needs to explore the castle and master his newly awakened powers to save him and his friend Mina, and there are multiple interesting conflicts from the amnesiac Jay, to Soma, to Graham, with Jay attempting to regain his memories, Graham wanting to win the power struggle for Dracula's power, which I think is a super cool idea, Yoko and Genya being aligned with Soma, and Hammers wanting to make a buck, because that was definitely the most interesting part of the story. That is, until the patch of the true ending. This is where I began enjoying the story fully, and I think it's easily the best true ending I've seen so far from the Castlevanias that I've played. After defeating Graham with the proper souls equipped, Soma begins absorbing the power of Dracula, and Genya, who we know to be Alucard because of the slip up from Yoko earlier on, tells Soma, whose fang is being taken over by it, they can remain himself and dispel his darkness, but the source of chaos and darkness, the power, and the castle, Drawful, must be destroyed once and for all. On Soma's way to do so, he meets Jay again, who has regained his memory as Julius Belmont, the one who defeated Dracula for the final time and sealed the castle in Eclipse. It's such a sick drop. And then, Sensing Dracula's power within Soma, Julius attacks him, leading to one of the best boss fights in the game, if not like just straight up the best, including an amazing version of Heart of Fire, which for some reason is called Wait Until the Night. I'm really interested in the reason as to why. I think that's, I don't know, I just think that's really interesting. After Soma defeats him, I learned that Julius held back even with the power of Dracula inside him, and Julius trusts Soma to end this source of chaos. From there, Soma enters the chaotic realm, which is also super sick, and seeks out and defeats chaos, severing the powers tied to darkness, or something like that. I'm not 100% clear on the exact way that this all works, but the general idea that the powers are cleansed was definitely clear. I didn't really mean to go through and explain the entire story, and honestly this section might get cut, but it's definitely my favorite story in a Metroidvania in a while, as well as being the best executed one in a while that I've played. The whole section for the true ending was easily my favorite part, and 100% in contention for the best part of the game in my opinion. The upgrades are something I enjoyed, as usual. The backspace was an upgrade this time, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually forgot about it for a good while until somehow I managed to do it by accident. But once again, my favorite upgrade is the Hippogriff Soul, which is this game's upward mobility function. It's like a hybrid of the Shine Circuit and Space Jump, flinging you up quickly while also resetting your jump, making vertical movement a cinch. It's sick, I love it. This game also had what are by far my favorite water segments in any game I can think of. Your movements change and restricted like normal, but it's not completely just to give you an upgrade to allow you to move more comfortably in water. Water is actually used as two gates here, being able to both walk on it and underneath it, and I think it's a really cool usage of it, and I would say a lot of use is gotten out of it. The music is also something I really enjoyed, but again, good music is a staple of the Castlevania series, but damn, Aria has a good soundtrack. Now, this feels shoehorned in and a bit repetitive, but I do want to mention the music, even if it's saying the same thing yet again. God, Aria was so good. Go play it for yourself, you won't regret it. I know for a fact I'm going to play it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's sooner than later.